This height adjustable desk was basically made for free, well, about $10 New Zealand all up. I've used recycled parts and put it together myself. It's super easy and you can make one really cheap. Let's see how I pulled this one off. First, we need to find a suitable table. I was given this table by a friend who didn't need it anymore. Now unfortunately, this table is extremely unstable and is not exactly safe to leave items on top of. So let's start disassembling it. Let me flip it over and it's just 4 screws holding onto the frame. Easy enough. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The desk is pretty much released. There are many cheap or free desks available on TradeMe in my country, which is eBay for New Zealand, which makes this project pretty feasible and repeatable for everyone. Now I need some parts of the frame, especially where the screw holes are already cut out, and you'll see why later on. Now I needed to break up the frame. So to cut it up, initially I was gonna use a Dremel or an angle grinder, but I had found that the frame was pretty weak and the welds weren't very good, so I could just stand on it with my foot and wiggle it left to right with my arm and break it off clean. It was super easy. That's all the parts we needed from the desk. Our next step is for the height adjustment, and it's an ironing board. Yep, a literal ironing board. Think about it. These things can adjust for height and are perfect as a cheap mechanism for this. While not electronic, it will work pretty well. There is a big downside for safety though, which will be timestamped in the video, so please watch that before making this project. Again, ironing boards are super cheap secondhand, and this is my family's old ironing board, so it was free for me. I just need to remove the padding and the cloth cover, and underneath we have a solid metal frame for attaching the desk to. Alright, we're almost there. We just need to attach the desk to the ironing board frame now. So we have the ironing board completely closed here, and that means it's flattened down so it's not standing up and laying on top of the desk where the screw holes are. Now to attach it, I put the old desk frame piece with the screw holes underneath the ironing board and line it up with those existing holes. You can see what I mean in the video here. This will give a little bit of clearance between the ironing board and the actual desk. Since it's all lined up, I'm actually using the original screws from the desk, but I'm also using a washer so that it actually holds onto the frame of the ironing board. You will also want to make sure that you get a washer large enough to make sure that it will never slip through the frame of the ironing board. Also, since the distance between the desk and the frame is a little bit larger now, you may need to buy the same screws but a little bit longer. On the right side of the desk, it's working perfectly and I have attached the desk to it. Now for all desk, and if you complete this project as well, you may find that you have to put new screw holes to attach the desk onto, or just use a normal screw instead of using a bolt like I am here. The other side of the ironing board is not wide enough, so I bought the steel brace, which was super cheap, and I'll put the price on the screen. I just need to drill 2 holes in the brace to get them to line up nicely with the desk. I did this by taping on the old desk frame piece and drilling down to make sure it's accurate. Now I realized I messed up this part of the desk on the left side a little bit, as the brace isn't long enough. So I angled the brace and the old desk frame so that I could use a normal screw in for the left side for both holes instead of using the existing bolts. Now this isn't perfect, but it's holding on pretty tight and the brace is slightly bent. I hope it can sustain the tension, but it's been a few months and it's been fine. Unfortunately, this does now mean that I have a screw slightly popping out of the top of the desk, but for me that doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to do this as cheap as possible. If you're going to do this, just get a screw that is the right length so it won't pop through the other side, but is reasonably secured into the desk. The other way you could do this is by making another screw hole and by tapping it in and making a threaded hole. I would say if you're going to do this, make a larger hole and then epoxy a piece of metal in and then tap that threaded hole. I'm not an expert, but that's how I do it. Awesome, our height adjustable desk is pretty much done now, but I noticed some sag in the middle, and to fix that I slotted another spare piece of the old desk frame, and the sag is now gone. Cool, we're pretty much completely done now. We have this awesome height adjustable desk that cost me less than 10 New Zealand dollars. That was just for the cost of the materials. If you were to do this project yourself, you could probably make it for less than 35 New Zealand dollars if you get everything really cheap, or for free. Now for the big problem with this desk, and please don't ignore this. My ironing board doesn't stop when lowering the height. So when lifting it up using the lever, it's completely fine and stops on each level. But when bringing it down, it just runs down completely to the bottom. Probably because of the extra weight on top of it, or that it was always like this. This is pretty dangerous for your fingers and for your hands, as well as anything that you have on the actual desk. I'm sure there is a way to make it stop on each level when it's going down, but I guess that's a problem for the version 2 of this desk. I would say when choosing an ironing board, just check how it folds down and be aware of the fact that it could fold up quickly on you. Despite this flaw, I'm still super happy with mine, and it serves its purpose so well for videos. I can have a desk standing up when it needs to be, and I can adjust the height from my camera when needed. It folds up and is super portable thanks to the ironing board, so I can take it anywhere. I guess the only other thing is that you have this odd piece of ironing board sticking out at the end, but that's easy to cover up. I'm super happy that I saved 2 items from the landfill and reduced my household waste into a super useful height adjustable desk. This was a really cool project, and it was basically free for myself. If you've made this desk, something similar, or plan to do it, let me know in the comments. Check out ystech.org for some more awesome content, but other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!